This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and I want to let you know that the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Over 2 million men worldwide have joined the movement for all their below-the-waist needs. Engineers for the last 18 months have perfected the greatest hair trimmer ever created, the Lawnmower 3.0. The third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. You can choose the Lawnmower 3.0 as well as other items by going to manscaped.com, and you can also save 20% by using the promo code STATEOFSAINTS. That's manscaped.com. Use the promo code STATEOFSAINTS and save 20% on the Lawnmower 3.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we are covering part 2 of the State of the Saints podcast mock draft. Now, if you didn't check out the show yesterday, first off, I would encourage you to fast forward about 6 minutes into it, because for 4 minutes of that video, I was talking to myself, but we covered round 1 through 3. All right. And on part 2, we're going to be covering rounds 4 through 7. But thank you so much for choosing the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And want to let everybody know that State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by manscaped.com. Thank you to manscaped.com for being an official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. And also, I want to thank Cash App for working with me for the month of April. And if you don't want to donate through YouTube, or you don't want to donate through Facebook, you can always use the Cash App. And I put that up on the screen right now. You can use $ State of Saints. Okay, so if you want to donate throughout the show, feel free to do so. And I want to thank those that use the Cash App. I want to give a special shout out to Tyler Greer. Thank you so much. Tyler donated, as well as Shaquisha. I want to thank her also. So thank you so much for, donating. And once again, I want to say to everybody out there, I appreciate your time. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about the NFL draft. All right. Let's talk about the NFL draft. I'm excited. I'm fired up. Because, rounds 4 through 7, these are the diamond in the rough rounds to me. These are the guys that it's not a guarantee that they're going to make the team. And if they do make the team, they made it through hard work, dedication. And, these guys are the guys that, they got to do the rough stuff. They're not blessed to be the first round pick where, anytime they mess up or screw something up, coaches will be right there taking care of them. They really have to get it right, and they really have to show toughness. So I got a lot of respect for these rounds 4 through 7 type guys. I mean, we know about some of these guys in the past that the Saints have drafted late, and the guys ended up being really good. For example, I think we all can agree that Marcus Colston was one of those guys, a 7th-round pick coming out of Hofstra, and he played mostly tight end. He would transition to wide receiver, and the rest is history, man. There are so many other players that the Saints have selected, late in rounds that ended up, being really, really good. So this is exciting right here. So let's go ahead and recap. Now, I'll recap rounds 1 through 3 for everybody that may not have checked out the part one episode. The first round, I said that the Saints need to draft Zaven Collins. Okay, Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa. Round number two, I said the Saints need to go after Tyson Campbell, cornerback out of Georgia. Round three, the Saints have 2 picks. I say wide receiver Cardinal Powell out of Clemson would be a good one, as well as a solid future backup quarterback in Sam Ehlinger out of Texas. So Saints got quite a few picks late in the draft. Round 4, they got a draft pick. They don't have one in round 5 due to the NFL with Alvin Kamara and the COVID protocol thing. Rounds 6, they have 1 pick, and they have 2 picks in round number 7. So who do I think the New Orleans Saints are going to pick up in round number 4? Well, with their 4th round pick, I got the Saints selecting a guy who I feel is a really, I want to call him a diamond in the rough. I've been talking about this for quite some time. I talked about how I feel like I like tough guys, right? I like guys that are tough and gritty. And one guy that I want to believe that the Saints would take a look at would be tackle Robert Hainsey. Okay, Robert Hainsey is a tackle out of Notre Dame. All right, he's not a household name. He's not a guy that is just going to knock your socks off. He's not a guy that is just going to just be, just everything people just would expect him to be. But one thing he is tough as hell. And then he's a Notre Dame offensive lineman. And I know some people are probably asking themselves, well, man, we got a solid offensive lineman. We got Ramczyk. We got Teron Armstead. We got Ruiz. We got McCoy. You know what I'm saying? We got Andrews Pete, man. We probably got one of the best offensive linemen and offensive lines in all of the NFL. Yeah, that is true. It is definitely true. You do have one of the best offensive lines. But you look at Teron Armstead. You look at the fact that he's starting to get a tad bit older. You look at the fact that, you don't know if you're going to be able to pay him as well as Ryan Ramczyk. Ryan Ramczyk, to me, is the best player on the Saints team. And, he is definitely the best right tackle in football, in my humble opinion. And I think that he deserves every single dime he gets. So with great play comes a very tough situation to be in. And that situation is, who are you going to pay? And you look at this guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, he comes from Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame has a great lineage of offensive linemen. I mean, y'all see Quentin Nelson out there, you know what I'm saying, handling his business out there in Indianapolis. Y'all see Zach Martin, you know what I'm saying, out there in Dallas. You know what I'm saying, how incredible those guys are. Notre Dame knows how to they know how to groom an offensive lineman. So I just think that Robert Hainsey, is going to be a good, solid offensive tackle. And he's a guy that you can develop. He's not going to be a first-day starter. He's not going to be a guy that is just going to come in right away. You can develop this guy. You know what I'm saying? This is a 4th-round pick. This can be something like a red shirt year. And you get this guy coached up, and when a contract situation presents itself, you probably can slide him to the guard position. And if you want to keep Andrews Pete, you can slide him to the outside at left tackle. So, Andrews Pete has that experience at left tackle. He played in college. He played reserve. When guys get hurt, they slide him to the outside. So I can see Andrews Pete, who can play on the inside as well as play on the outside. The Saints might ask him to kind of slim down a tad bit and might have him play left tackle and have Robert Hainsey play on the inside at guard, or vice versa. But I think that this guy will be a great pick with the 4th round, because I think it will solve an issue that the Saints are going to have probably going into next year, about possibly keeping Teron Armstead. And not only that, Teron Armstead, I mean, I like him a lot, but he does have a history of being injured throughout the year. I mean, last year he didn't get injured. He just had COVID. And in my honest opinion, it was unfortunate that it happened, but it also gave him an opportunity to kind of rest himself, because he usually would miss around 1 or 2 games. So Robin Hainsey, fourth round pick for the New Orleans Saints. That's who I have at round number 4. Round number 6, because once again, the New Orleans Saints do not have a 5th round pick thanks to Roger Goodell and the Hayden NFL. Okay. They got their 5th round draft pick taken away from them, as well as $500,000 because they violated COVID protocol. Okay. I don't need to go into a big spiel about how I feel about this situation. I think we all know we had people all around the NFL in locker rooms celebrating without masks. But for some apparent reason, the Saints have this huge target on their back when it comes to the NFL, and the NFL always using the Saints as their whipping boys. But they do have a 6th round pick, and I do think that in the 6th round, the Saints need to select this guy, and I'm talking about Tough Borland out of Ohio State. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory here, people. We know that Sean Payton loves himself an Ohio State player, right? He loves me. That's all he get. We laugh because he neglects to get LSU players, but he always has a tendency of getting guys from Ohio State. Is becoming a running joke at this particular point. But Tough Borland is a guy that I feel like would be great for the New Orleans Saints. He's not the biggest guy. He's not going to knock your socks off. He's 6 foot tall, 229 pounds. But I do feel like a lot of pieces that have left the New Orleans Saints, he can kind of pick up the slack, right? We don't know if Craig Robinson is going to come back with the Saints. He has been an ace on special teams. And with Tough Borland is a guy that he's a tackling machine, man. He's not the most agile linebacker that you're ever going to see. He's not the guy that is going to be sideline to sideline. He's not a Luke Kuechly, or he's not a Ray Lewis or anything like that. But what he is a tough athlete. He's a scrappy guy. He is going to always stick his head in the play. And I feel like this is a guy that you can put on your special teams. And one thing that did stand out about Borland is the fact that he was elected captain of the Ohio State defense 3 years in a row. So that tells you right there that he is a well-respected guy around his team and amongst his peers. And that's good to have in the locker room. A good solid leader, a guy that you can lean on, the guy that you can look to for inspiration. Know that the guy is going to make a play, or he's going to die trying to make the play, so to speak. So Tough Borland would be a great special teams player. And if something happens, you know what I'm saying, you need an emergency linebacker, he can come in, give you a few tackles, but mostly you need to address what's going on special teams. And I feel like Tough Borland would be a great addition to the Saints special teams, especially a special team that has been extremely successful over the last couple of years. The Saints have had one of the best special teams in all of football. I mean, with Justin Hardy and you had JT Gray, those guys as your gunners, Craig Robinson leading the special teams group. They have really been a successful group. So I would love Tough Borland as a special team player in the 6th round. All right, now we move on to rounds number 7. Saints got 2 picks in round number 7, okay, because of the trade of Malcolm Brown with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So with the 7th round, I have the Saints selected running back Kenny Nwegu out of Iowa State. Okay, now I know what some people are thinking. Who is this guy, right? Who is it, right? They probably never heard of him unless you're watching some Big 12 football. But Kenny Nwegu is a carbon copy of Latavius Murray. Why am I saying this? It's because the New Orleans Saints have a tough decision to make, folks. I don't think it's over with. I don't think that it's all said and done when it comes to them having to possibly make some decisions when it comes to the salary cap, because you still have to pay people like Marcus Williams. You still got to pay people, like Ryan Ramczyk. You still got to pay people like Marshawn Lattimore. So with that, you might have to make a tough decision about what are you going to do with Latavius Murray. And I look at a guy like Nwegu who could come in, and he is basically a carbon copy of Latavius Murray. This guy is about 6'1". He's about 220 pounds, and He's a one cut back, just like Latavius Murray, man. Latavius Murray is not the most elusive guy in the world. Latavius Murray isn't the fastest guy in the world. But what he is a one cut back. He's a guy that if he needs to get a couple yards, he can lean forward and get about 3 or 4 yards. And Wegu is not only a carbon copy of Latavius Murray, but he's even faster. He's even faster than Latavius Murray. And also, this is a key. This is key right here, folks. When you had Deontay Harris go down, right? When he went down, you had an issue at special teams. When Marquez Callaway wasn't playing because he dealt with a knee injury, you had your star running back and Alvin Kamara back there fielding kicks. And that's something that you do not want. You do not want your star running back there fielding kicks because some guys might end up thinking this is a great opportunity to take a shot and try to knock him out of the game. But within Wegu, what this guy can do, not only can he give you production, running in between the tackles, he can also help you on special teams. He was an extremely successful kick returner at Iowa State. So not only are you solving these issues, like you're basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Deontay Harris, we like him, but he does have a history of being hurt. He's a smaller guy, so most likely his chances of getting hurt are at a very high percentage. And also, once again, you need that type of production that Latavius Murray gives you, and I feel like Nwegu would. So with the 7th round pick, I have the Saints selecting a running back in the 7th round. And finally, the last pick for the New Orleans Saints in the 7th round, I have the Saints taking tight end Trey McKitty. Okay, Trey McKitty started his career at Florida State. All right, he ended up transferring to Georgia. Now, Trey McKitty is a guy that I feel like Sean Payton loves, right? He's a big guy. He's 6'5". He's about 250, and he's a pass-catching tight end. And we all know that Sean Payton loves those pass-catching tight ends. He loves to put those guys in situations where they can be mismatch issues. Trey McKitty is a diamond in the rough. With the right coaching, with the right system, he can end up being a really good tight end. He can, he's a solid blocker, right? But he is not a really good blocker. But he's a much better pass catcher. And with his size, he can be a threat in the red zone. Okay, he can be a threat in the red zone. Sean Payton can line him up, in different ways. And he also can help on special teams. And I think that a guy like this, if he's sitting there in the 7th round, would not surprise me if Sean Payton picks him up in round number 7 because he likes projects like this. He loves projects like this. But those are my picks, man. Those are my picks round 4 through 7. What do you think about them? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're enjoying the show so far. If you're new to the show, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So thank you all so much. But let's go ahead and go to the comments, see what you all have to say about the draft. How many draft picks do we have? We got 8 total. The New Orleans Saints have 8 draft picks total. Marquez Callaway was an undrafted free agent. Yes, Marquez Callaway was definitely an undrafted free agent. So was Pierre Thomas. Guys like that, the Saints always seem to find. They always seem to find those really good undrafted free agents. Great job by Jeff Ireland and the front office of the New Orleans Saints, always finding guys that other teams pass up on. I mean, you can even talk about Taysom Hill. They found him too. They found him looking for, I want to say, Christian McCaffrey's brother, if I'm not mistaken. They was looking at him, and they ended up finding Taysom. So shouts out to Sean Payton and his coaching staff being able to identify talent and utilizing that talent to the advantage of the team. We have to pay Ryan Ramczyk and Lattimore. These are special players. We don't want walking away. Well, look, that's definitely the truth, and that's one of the reasons why my draft was based on decisions. Like, it's not always about, man, we need this, man, we need that. A lot of teams they make these decisions based on what's going to happen in the future. In the future, the New Orleans Saints are going to be faced with a tough situation. Now, we like the cap wizardry that, you know what I'm saying, that took place with, with Kai Harley and Mickey Loomis. That's outstanding. But you can't keep on finessing the checkbook. You can't keep doing it. You're going to have to make tough decisions. And in some cases, they have made tough decisions, like allowing Janoris Jenkins to walk away, not being able to pay Rankins, not being able to pay Justin Hardy. There are some people that, you know what I'm saying, there are some decisions that the New Orleans Saints have to make that are going to be casualties. I mean, even with Emmanuel Sanders. So you can't keep on finessing the checkbook. Eventually, you're going to have to face this issue head on. And right now, I feel like building through the draft, I feel like the New Orleans Saints can address some of those issues. You pick the right draft prospect, and you'll end up having good replacements from when you have to make those tough decisions. But Ramczyk and Lattimore definitely have to be on the menu, and if that calls for you to have to get rid of somebody that has been here for quite some time, if they don't want to restructure a deal or they want to play for a little bit more money, then you'll have somebody in their place waiting. It's not always about, oh, we need this, need that. Sometimes it's about addressing an issue that we don't even see as fans. I think he had round 1 Collins, round 2 Tyson Campbell, round 3 Powell. Yeah, receiver from Clemson. Yeah, those were my picks. And also Sam Ehlinger, another player out the 3rd round. I'll take any O-line from Wisconsin. Yeah. Any O-lineman from Wisconsin, any offensive lineman from Notre Dame, I roll with that because you know that you're going to get some solid offensive line play. You know what I mean? Even if the guy is like average, you coach him up, he'll be above average because those guys like to run the ball up there, man. They like to run the ball in South Bend and they love to run the ball out there in Madison. So anyway it goes, man, you're going to have some solid offensive line play from any one of those schools. So that's one of the main reasons why I decided to go with Robert Hainsey, because of his because he's a captain. I feel like, leadership is important. And also he went to Notre Dame. I'm a little biased when it comes to that. Sean would get himself another toy at wide receiver and an O-line for the future young lineman. Yeah, that's why I feel like, with Cornell Powell. I feel like Cornell Powell would be a good weapon for Sean Payton. I think that what Cornell Powell can do, I think that Sean Payton will fall in love with that. And as far as the offensive line, he loves, good offensive line play. So, out running errands, but I'm here. What's going on, Jerry? Appreciate you for stopping by. Deal says the NFL hates us. Simple as that. That's an understatement. Other teams get, all these different luxuries and the benefit of the doubt, but not the Saints. Be Kind, who is a supporter of the State of the Saints podcast, says, hey, Jerry, figured you must be busy. Thank you to Be Kind and to all of the supporters of the State of the Saints podcast. And you can identify a supporter by the little icon that they have up. Their words are in green. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's a supporter here on YouTube for the State of the Saints podcast, as well as Facebook, all the supporters that are on Facebook as well. And if you want to become a supporter of the State of the Saints podcast, go ahead and, join the Facebook page. There's an icon for you to learn more about how to become a supporter, as well as on YouTube. Okay, so become a State of the Saints podcast supporter. I would really appreciate that. Even if he's not a sideline guy, you're coming to the Saints and you'll become one. I don't know about that, man. I think the linebacker play needs some work. Now, it was going in the right direction when Mike Nolan was here. Mike Nolan as a defensive coordinator, nah. Mike Nolan as a line coach for the linebackers, thumbs up, okay? Sometimes guys can bite off more than they can chew, okay? And I feel like that's what happened with Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan focusing on the linebackers, giving those guys intensity, giving those guys, different tools that they need to become successful. I'm about that, okay? I feel like the New Orleans Saints need to reach out to him, create a job so he can be somewhere in here with Mike Hodges, like be somewhere in the facility somewhere, even if you're a special consultant or something. But I think they need to make something up for Mike Nolan to be able to come back and help out the linebacker group, because they played much better. And you can tell there was a kind of a drop-off at linebacker play when Mike Nolan went to the Dallas Cowboys. But hopefully they can bring him back in some capacity to help out. It's almost like when John Carney, I'm saying, like they hired John Carney to be a kicking consultant when Garrett Hartley was going through a little bit of a struggle. So, they can come up with ways to get these guys back in the locker room. Latavius is the punch it running back. You need that option. Yeah, I always talk about Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray is one of the most underrated running backs in football. I just think that he's completely unappreciated because I just think that people just love the sizzle. You know what I'm saying? They love all that kind of stuff. They call it the wiggle. You know what I'm saying? And he's not going to knock your socks off. That's just not who Latavius is. Latavius is a lunch pail guy, and I respect the hell out of lunch pail guys. I think the lunch pail guys fly under the radar. And for example, I mentioned him at the beginning of the show, Marcus Colston. Marcus Colston is a lunch pail guy. Marcus Colston never went to a Pro Bowl, but I think he was maybe less than 270 receptions away from 1,000 catches. Like, it's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? But why was he not appreciated? Because he played in an era with the diva receiver. He played in an era with the TOs. He played in an era with the Ocho Cincos. He played in an era with the Steve Smith Seniors. So he was always a guy that kind of flew under the radar. And I just feel like he was a victim of those guys, blinding light. And sometimes you didn't realize how great this dude really was. So with that being said, when you go to Latavius Murray, I feel like it's the same way. Latavius Murray has been good everywhere he went, from being in Oakland, from being in Minnesota, here in New Orleans. A lot of us don't even appreciate how good that guy really is. But to me, I think that Latavius Murray is a guy, if he was your starting running back, you would have a really successful running game. He's a guy that I feel like can be up there, getting 1,400, 1,500 yards. I think he gets better as time goes on. When the game starts to get late, you really see him coming on. I seen him play some of the toughest defenses in football and still get close to 100 yards, even over 100 yards. One game in particular, when the Saints played the Chicago Bears, and he went out there, man, he just balled the hell out for 100+ yards. He was averaging 150 yards from scrimmage when Alvin Kamara was dealing with his knee issues back in 2019. Latavius Murray is a special player, man, and I don't think that he gets the appreciation that he deserves. But I do feel like, because he's so unappreciated, people look at him as being expendable. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go with the running back from Iowa State, because I'm looking at a carbon copy, okay? I know what Sean Payton likes. Sean Payton likes that he likes that one running back that can catch out of the backfield, that can make people miss, and he likes that bruiser. If you notice, the New Orleans Saints, they always had that dynamic, right? They had it with Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas. They had it again with Reggie Bush when Deuce McAllister was here. They had it with Pierre and Darren Sproles. So it was like they always had that guy that was that bruising, that was going to break tackles. And then they're always going to have that guy to catch out of the backfield. Darren Sproles, Mark Ingram, right? Then Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. So they want that bruising back. They want that one cut back combined with that guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. And I think that and Wegu would be that guy. But I really do appreciate Latavius Murray. And if the Saints were to get rid of him because of the cap, I would be very disappointed. I'm not going to lie about that. I would be very, very disappointed. Dada Saints #1, who's also a supporter. Thank you so much. Says, evening TJ in chat room. What's going on, man? Sammy Robbins says, did you see the Saints making any trades at some point during the draft? Sam, I can see them aggressively early in the draft, but not late. No. Let me rephrase that. I can see them making them late, not early in the draft. See, I just think that the Saints are faced with a position. They have to kind of replicate or get close to what they did in 2017. Now, I think 2017 was an anomaly. I don't think you are ever going to get a draft like that anymore. I mean, you had the offensive rookie and the defensive rookie of the year on the same team. That wasn't done since like the 1950 Detroit Lions or something like that. That was an anomaly. And sometimes, like I said, we as Saints fans, sometimes we become prisoners of the moment, and we feel like those moments should always happen. They should always occur. And I don't think we really fully appreciate what transpired. It's like when people talk about Drew Brees and you start comparing and talking about all these other quarterbacks and you turn your nose up at them, you know, because Drew Brees has given you so much hope. And sometimes that can be a false sense of reality because Drew Brees was an anomaly. Drew Brees is an all-time great. You don't have all-time great quarterbacks playing in every era. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to have 4 and 5 of them, or you're not going to have 10 or 15 of them. Okay, you'll probably have 1 or 2 playing in an era, but a plethora, that's not going to happen. You're going to have guys that are going to be better than the rest, and then teams are going to have to take that decent quarterback and surround him with you know what I'm saying, like up to snuff talent in order to counteract the mistakes that he might make. See, sometimes, like I said, we become a prisoner of the moment. Back in 2017, they kept on hitting us, you know what I'm saying, with hit after hit after hit. Now, all of a sudden, we as Saints fans feel that they need to do the same thing over and over again. But that doesn't happen all the time. For every Alvin Kamara that you'll get a Stanley Jean-Baptiste. If for every Michael Thomas that you'll get a Nick Toon. So we have to learn how to appreciate those moments, man, and understand that we want to try to replicate that, but the chances of that happening ever again is slim to none. If the Saints can hit, they got 8 picks. If they can hit on 3 out of those 8, and in those 3, you know what I'm saying, and let's just say that 4th person, you know what I'm saying, plays on special teams or something. If they can get close to 50% as they possibly can, I think they'll be just fine. Because the reality is you're not going to find, you know what I'm saying, 8 picks that are going to change the world. We like to believe that because we love the NFL draft. The NFL draft represents change. The NFL draft represents a new beginning. And when we look at these players, we don't look at these players as, you know what I'm saying, being spot fillers. We look at these guys, no matter if they're rounds 1 through 7, to change the fortunes of our franchise. But sometimes, realistically, we can't look at it that way. And we definitely can't dig in the crates and think about what they did back then, because we have to understand, once again, that was an anomaly. It's not going to happen again. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like you are not going to hit on the draft the way the Saints did. There's a reason why they're considered 2017 the best draft class in all of the NFL, you know, according to prognosticators. So appreciate the fact that there's a, you know what I'm saying, that they have all these picks, that you can get depth on a team. And not only that, because you're dealing with salary cap issues, if you coach these guys up, you get these guys on the field, then you can possibly, you know what I'm saying, have these guys playing on rookie deals, and you can go out there and probably get guys that can help to change the fortune of your team at a certain skill position. So I don't think they're going to be able to replicate 2017. I don't. But if they can get at least 3 of those guys, you know what I'm saying, like even 4 out of 8, I think they'll be just fine. If you get 50%, that's pretty doggone good. The weather is crazy out here. Look like it's about to rain out here in South Carolina, man. It looked like it's about to rain. TJ, Jabril Cox told WWL that the Saints have contacted him several times and will attend his pro day. Well, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great if Jabril Cox, that the Saints have contacted him. And look, I mean, the Saints got to do their due diligence, right? We talked about this a few minutes ago. You want to make sure that you're hitting where you need to hit. You want to make sure that you put your team in the best position to succeed, right? So you want to dot every I, cross every T. You want to contact the best. You want to contact those guys that you feel like is going to be, important to the success of your team going forward. And I feel like Jabril Cox can be that guy. And why not? You know what I'm saying? Like what hasn't been proven from an LSU player coming into the NFL? I mean, we see them all across the board. It's very rare that you see an LSU player not living up to, to the hype, right? You know what I'm saying? Even Leonard Fournette, who kind of started off, kind of sputtered a little bit. I mean, you look at what he did in the postseason. I mean, you look at Greedy Williams, who I feel like is going to be really good out there in Cleveland. He ended up getting hurt. Grant Delpit, you know what I'm saying? He's out for the season. I feel like he's going to bounce back. You got Justin Jefferson, right? He's out there, you know what I'm saying, putting up these crazy numbers, you know what I'm saying, beating out Randy Moss rookie year. Anytime you're like in the same category of conversation with Randy Moss, I mean, enough is said. I mean, LSU players all across the board. Tyrann Mathieu playing in the Super Bowl. Patrick Peterson, you know what I'm saying, all those years in Arizona. Now he's playing out there in Minnesota. You have all these different players out here, man, making noise at LSU. You would be an absolute moron not to want to contact one of those guys or put one of those guys on your team. Now, I really just don't understand it. I have my theories. We talked about that on part 1 of the State of Saints podcast mock draft. What I feel is the reason behind Sean Payton not selecting these guys. But I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Any LSU player that I've seen, it's never really been a bunch of hype. You know what I'm saying? The players that have come out, I say in the last, I say about 8 to 9 years coming out of LSU, if they're a high prospect, they live up to expectations. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. You know, I like some players, like even at Alabama, right? Alabama have players that come into the league, they don't know how to transition. LSU, they get players coming to the league. Those guys are like the creme de la creme. They like all pros. They like borderline Hall of Famers. So I don't understand what they looking at out there in New Orleans. I really don't. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why they don't select. I mean, can you think of a terrible, sorry, you know what I'm saying, like LSU player? I mean, look at Andrew Whitworth. You know what I'm saying? Like, man about to go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, Patrick Peterson going to the Hall of Fame. Tyrann Mathieu, a couple more years, he going to the Hall of Fame. Odell Beckham Jr. get himself on track and stay healthy. He's going to the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? The way that Justin Jefferson playing right now, pending injury, might be going to the Hall of Fame. You know, I just don't understand, like, how, why? You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he got this personal vendetta. I don't know if he just don't like these guys. I don't know if he feel like these guys being close to home, they might, succumb to their devices, or I don't know what the hell going on. All I know is LSU hits it out the park every single time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. The only LSU player I know that I can just think of right now that came to the NFL, you know what I'm saying, is the Raw, you know what I'm saying, who played for the Saints, couldn't make the field, and Malachi Dupree. Those are like some of the only guys that I can just think of right out my head. Even like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you know what I'm saying? Like, he came week 1 for the Kansas City Chiefs and almost had 200 yards of total offense. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, maybe y'all do, but I don't. We definitely need 2 or 3 starters from this draft if we can get 4. Oh, man. Exactly. See, the goal to me is to get 50% production in each draft, right? 50% to me. If you get anything over 50%, you killing it. You killing it. You got to have faith, TJ. We scout good. I trust Loomis and Payton. Oh, I definitely have faith. But Derek, I'm realistic about it, man. I'm realistic. I'm just like that's just me. I'm realistic. You know what I'm saying? For like, you're not going to have every single draft pick give you maximum production. That's just not reality. That's just not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure that you're getting it right the first 3 rounds, right? That's just it. To me, rounds 1, 2, and 3, you want to get right as close to accurate as you possibly can. You want to dot the I's, you want to cross the T's, you want to do your due diligence. Rounds 4 through 7, those are the rounds where it's like, okay, we're going to try, but if it don't pan out, I completely understand. And if you find a 4th round pick or a 5th or a 6th or a 7th, and they give you any type of production, or say the least, they end up getting a 2nd contract, man, that is a testament to that person's greatness. It is hard to make an NFL team. When you're like late round draft picks, it is hard for you to make an NFL team. And sometimes, once again, we don't understand that because we go into the NFL draft expecting our team, that player, to change the way that we think about that team, you know what I'm saying, and possibly lead us to the promised land. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the 1st pick or the 7th pick. You know what I'm saying, the 7th round pick. We expect that guy to come in to change the fortunes of our franchise. If we were a game away from the Super Bowl, we expect those players that they drafted to get us over the hump. That's just reality. Why do you think we watch in anticipation? Why do you think we're so emotionally invested at the draft picks? Oh, why did they get that guy when we need this? Why did they select him when they had this guy who was better than him? Why? Because we're emotionally invested. Because we expect those guys to come in and make an immediate impact. And we want as close to 100% as possible. But in reality, that's not reality. Can you name a team, all 7 rounds, that have gotten it right for every single player across the board? You know what I'm saying? Like every single, you know what I'm saying? Like, Mario said Jamarcus Russell Hall of trash. Yeah, that's why I said 8 years. I didn't go back that far. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you can pull up the Glenn Dorseys and the Tyson Jacksons and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Those guys were okay, but the way, you know what I'm saying, the way that they were positioned and drafted should have been much better. All right, but the last 8 years, dude, they've been killing it. Can't lie about that one. Man, the LSU kicker Jasper didn't make it a few years ago. Yeah, well, come on, man, it's a kicker. You know, no disrespect to kickers, but I don't consider kickers as football players. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, we happy when they make field goals, but I just, that's only one thing I expect for them. Do you expect the kicker? Like, honestly, for all my football players out there, you playing special teams. I'm pretty sure I had some burners out here in this group right now. I probably played high school ball, probably played on special teams as a kick return. When you broke past, you know what I'm saying, the gunners of the team, the linebackers, and you only had the kicker to beat, did you really think that you were going to get stopped by the kicker, or you thought that you were going to score a touchdown? Like, seriously. Like, I don't consider kickers football players. No disrespect to Jasper. He was good at LSU. But I don't look at him in the same regards as I look at a Patrick Peterson or Tyrann Mathieu or Odell. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Not that we we grasping at straws here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do. Oh, man. That was a good one, though, man. I like how you dug in a crate for a kicker. But, hey, if the only thing that I have to go against is a kicker, I think I'll be fine. But I want to let everybody know that the draft is 2 weeks away. We are 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. And as y'all know, that the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, okay? Manscaped says, with the first pick of the 2021 men's grooming draft, the Ball Saxonville Jaguars select Manscaped the leader in below the waist grooming, looked like Mel Kiper gave it an A+ because the pick is a major upgrade from the Bush defense. For all my NFL draft fans out there, we have an exclusive offer for you. Manscaped.com. If you go to manscaped.com and use the promo code State of Saints, you will save 20% off of your purchase. Okay, that's all one word, State of Saints. You will save 20% off. No matter if your item that you're purchasing is $100 or as cheap as $5, 20% off on your purchase. All one word, State of Saints. And thank you once again to Manscaped.com, the official sponsor of the State of the Saints. And also, once again, thank you to Cash App, working with the State of the Saints podcast for the month of April. If you want to donate to the show, not using YouTube, not using Facebook, you can always use this profile code here, $ State of Saints, to donate to the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you for all those out there that have used the Cash App for the State of the Saints podcast to donate. Thank you all so much. All right, back to it. I'm going to read a few more, and then we're going to get up out of here. TJ, you're forgetting about the quarterback. Russell was a bust when he made it. That's why I said the last 8 years. I said the last 8 years, I knew exactly where this was going. I knew somebody was going to bring up Jamarcus Russell. I knew somebody was going to bring that guy up. That's why I said the last 8 years. You know what I'm saying? Like the last 8 to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? What the last 8 to 10 years was, 2013 or something like that, 2012. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go back 10 years, then 2011. But Jamarcus Russell, what he got drafted? 07? I know where I was going with this. I feel you though, TJ. Yeah, man. I would just, Derek, it's just about man, 50% is the goal. Over 50% you find. TJ, what about the best player available? Look, it don't always be the case. Sometimes the best player available is a player that you might have as one of the best in the league. Now think about this. Like, okay, if you had Patrick Mahomes, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, for example, you had Patrick Mahomes and then some weird, crazy reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, you picking in the top 5. Maybe the team that you traded with last year sucked. All right. And you got their draft pick. And let's just say the player available is a quarterback. Would you draft another quarterback? Or would you go get, you know what I'm saying, a player at another position, you know what I'm saying, that you need? What would you do? You would get the player at the next position that you need. It's not always about the best player available, because this is the thing. This is what people need to understand. All right. When you draft a player, you're putting the hopes and dreams of the franchise on the back of that player. And at the same time, that player is putting unlimited confidence in you to pull out everything out of them in order for them to be successful. Now, think about this, man. You really, really need a job, right? You really need a job. But the job that's hiring is an engineering company. You didn't go to school for engineering. You didn't go to school. You don't know the first thing about being an engineer. You go to the job anyway. You might nail the interview. You know what I'm saying? They probably think you're a nice guy, friendly. You never miss work, all that kind of stuff, all the stuff they want to hear. But at the same time, it's an engineering job. Okay? You have to have certain skills in order for you to be successful at the job. I say that to say this. You might have good skills. You might have all the skills in the world, but you may not be a good fit for that organization. These organizations want guys that are good fits. It's not always about the best available at times. It's about what that guy can bring to the table and help your team. It's kind of different, okay? If you see a shutdown corner that's available, oh, heck yeah. You can never have too many cornerbacks because everybody throws the football. But let's just say, for example, you got Cam Jordan on this side, double-digit sacks, right? Let me just use this as an example. You had Trey Henderson. You know what I'm saying? I know he's going right now, but he had double-digit sacks. Would you go out here and be really consciously thinking about getting another defensive end or a pass rusher? Probably not. But at the same time, you might be looking at a guy, you know what I'm saying? If you do, you might be looking at a defensive end that can work in a NASCAR package. Maybe a guy that's faster than Trey Hendrickson that can get to the quarterback faster, or a guy that can reverse size so Cam Jordan can leave a game, you know what I'm saying, and not have to play so much going into, you know what I'm saying, his older age. He's over the age, he's 31 now, or he'll be 31 at the start of the season. So you look for guys that are a good fit for your organization. Not always the best available because, you know, let's use this. 2012. The Washington Redskins, they selected RG3. Mike Shanahan didn't really want RG3. He wanted Kirk Cousins because he felt like Kirk Cousins would give him what he needs. He would actually have to change his whole mind frame and his whole offensive philosophy in order to make RG3 work. Now, that was a Bill Snyder decision, but if it was up to Mike Shanahan, he would have got Kirk Cousins. Coaches know what they need. Coaches know the players that are going to benefit in their offense. So it's not always about what's the best available. It's about what's best for your team. So I just want to let that be known. You know, just want to let that be known. Will Clapp. Oh, Will Clapp, good. I like Will Clapp. Will Clapp, a solid offensive line. He's still in the league. He's still out there doing his thing. Mo Claiborne. After the injury, I look at Mo Claiborne this way. Mo Claiborne went to a bad situation. He went to a horrible situation. I feel like if he went to another organization, didn't get drafted by the Cowboys, you know, it was just a recipe for disaster. His favorite team growing up was the Dallas Cowboys. You know, Jerry Jones, y'all know how he do. The Jerry Jones, you literally had to like hold him down so he wouldn't draft Johnny Manziel. So I just think that Mo Claiborne, his fandom, his love for the Cowboys, I think that it just clung at the heartstrings of Jerry Jones and he selected him. Mo Claiborne went somewhere else. If he went to Pittsburgh, if Mo Claiborne went to Philly, Mo Claiborne went to Baltimore, would have been a completely different story. Would have been a completely different story. But I'm gonna let you have it there, Will, because he wasn't up to snuff. He didn't live up to the expectation. I think he was like the fourth pick in the draft. So I'm gonna agree with you on that. 52 watching on the 19 lights. Come on, man, hit that button. Well, you know, it's not ball. I appreciate it. Thank you know what I'm saying. Thank you for saying that. I wasn't expecting, you know what I'm saying, to have like a huge turnout, you know what I'm saying, because it's more like a pop-up shop show. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, like if I do a show, it's mostly like early in the morning, like right before, you know what I'm saying, lunchtime, or, you know, I do it at night, you know what I'm saying, where everybody kind of got off work. But I'm just appreciative to everybody watching, you know what I'm saying, anybody watching the show, you know. I just appreciate that, you know. But we move on. Russell got paid, though. Lord. Yeah, I mean, but that was during the time and before the time when they started to like have that cap for rookies. So he definitely got $50 million and did absolutely nothing. Not a doggone thing. I miss your picks, TJ. Who you thinking? Well, Caleb, we'll go ahead and do a recap before we get up out of here, man. Okay, we're starting rounds 4 through 7. And Caleb, thank you for being a part of the show. I don't know if this is your first time or not, man, but the first time I seen your name. So thank you so much for being here. But my picks for the NFL draft rounds 4 through 7 were we had Robert Hensey, you know what I'm saying? He's an offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. Okay, I had the Saints picking him in the 4th round due to the fact that you have a decision to make on offensive line when it comes to Teron Armstead. And also you have to pay Ryan Ramczyk. And if you're paying Ryan Ramczyk, who I feel should be the highest paid right tackle in football, you might be dealing with a salary cap issue. And not to mention you have to pay Marcus Williams and Marshawn Lattimore. And this guy can actually come in. You know what I'm saying? He can have like a red shirt year. He can sit out, develop, whether you want his weight to go up or down. Maybe you want to help him work on his technique. He can be there for you in year 2 in case, you know, somebody has to go due to being a cap casualty. So that was the fourth round pick for the Saints. Then, of course, the Saints don't have a 5th round pick. So in the 6th round, I have them taking Tough Borland out of Ohio State. I have him strictly for special team use. Okay, I think this guy's a solid tackler. He's a 3-time captain of the defense for Ohio State. And we all know that Sean Payton loves Ohio State players. So I think he fits the mold. His toughness, his tenacity, his will to be successful, never giving up on plays. Definitely need that fearless spirit when you're talking about special teams. So Tuf Borland in round number 6. And the Saints have 2 7th-round picks. All right. They got Connie Nwegu, running back out of Iowa State. He's a guy that's pretty much a faster version of Latavius Murray, a one cutback, also can help you on special teams. So that would be a good pick, and then that also helps you in case you have to move Latavius Murray. You'll have somebody to replace him. And finally, it would be tight end Trey McKitty out of Georgia. He's a pass-catching tight end, and he kind of fits the mold of those type of tight ends that Sean Payton likes. So those were the picks from round 4 through 7. That's how I feel like the draft should go. Okay, something, if it's not those players, those positions need to be addressed round 4 through 7, in my opinion. Who was the Tulsa linebacker? That's Zaven Collins. I have him as the Saints' number 1 pick. I would scoop him up if he could play defense like Ray Lewis. I don't know if he can play defense like Ray Lewis, but I think he's a Luke Kuechly type guy. Guy always around the football, and ball bounce up in the air, he gonna come run under it, and catch the interception. Like, he's always making plays, and that's something that I like. I like guys that always are in hand is in a cookie jar. I like that. Fresh cut, no hat. Yeah, man. Look, yeah, man. I got my hair cut. Y'all know how I go, man. You get your hair cut. You know what I'm saying? You go to the barbershop with a hat, leave the barbershop without a hat. You know what I'm saying? My hair's in the car, in the garage. So I was like, man, forget it. Then I was already here. I was doing some editing for the radio station. And I was like, well, I looked at the time. I was like, man, about time to do a podcast. So I didn't want to go out there to get my hat out of the garage. And I didn't want to go upstairs to the closet and get another hat. So I'm like, haircut it is. You can never forget about the linemen. Definitely can't forget about the linemen, man. You can never have too many offensive linemen, to me. Guys are always getting hurt, especially on the offensive line. Brad Wing. Okay, Brad Wing. We're talking about the quarterback, right? I'm hearing a lot of things about him. I didn't really take a look. Shouts out to my guy Ross Jackson. I seen him talking about him. He had a pro day. I got to take a look at it, man. Mario, I have an answer for you next time. Maybe I even do a show on. I think it's about time for me to start evaluating some of these guys. And I encourage you, and all the supporters of the State of the Saints podcast, feel free to inbox me, like some of the players that you would like for me to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you see a player that you feel like would be a good fit for the Saints, go ahead and, inbox me. Let me know what players that you think the Saints should get. And also, some of the viewers of the show, if you have a player, you can inbox me or email me as well. Let's try to break this thing down. We got 2 weeks. Of course, we know we're going to have a State of the Saints podcast, 2nd annual NFL draft watch party. So if you weren't a part of year number 1, that was a classic. That was a absolute classic. That probably was one of my favorite shows of all time I've done. We're going to have a live reaction show for the 2021 NFL draft. So if you're not doing anything, you're probably at the house watching the draft by yourself, come and join the party, man. We're going to be watching. We're going to be watching the draft. Going to be taking calls. Big brother EJ Jones, host of Pick Six Vlog World, going to be in the house. Probably, try to get some more, Saints podcasters like CB, Pretty Carly. Try to see if Big Q can stop by for a few minutes, have a live draft reaction. Try to see if we can talk and see, what they think about it. And also try to see if we can get some more, people from New Orleans Saints, the reporters, to come on the show leading up to the draft. All right. But we got a lot of things to cover, a lot of things to unwrap in these next 2 weeks for the NFL draft, before the NFL draft. And I'm excited about it. I am excited about it. Cass says, TJ, before you head out, did you check out Tevin Jenkins? No, I did not. I did not, Cass. I did not check it out. And the reason why, let me be honest with you. I was hooking something up at my house, man. So I really didn't have a chance to do anything. So I was hooking something up. I had to pick up Paxton on yesterday. Then we had to end up going to go to Lowe's. We had to pick up some supplies. So that was like my entire evening, like, like fixing something at the house. And I'm still not done. I'm still not done. So, but I will definitely check it out, man. I have nothing really to do this evening. After I pick Paxton up, I have to go take him to get his hair cut, and I'm in the house and I'll check it out. I promise. I definitely will have an answer and a conclusion for you next time we do a show. Jude says, Jets fans follow the show. I felt like ugly crying. Look, well, I'm happy about anybody. I'm saying? Like I like the fact that people of other teams watch this show. I enjoy it. Because even though this is a Saints podcast, the Saints are my favorite team, hometown team. I'm pretty well-rounded when it comes to the NFL. I keep up with a lot of these things. I know a little something about every team because you never know who's going to ask you to be on what show. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on a show for the Philadelphia Eagles. I was on a show for the Falcons. I was on the show, like the Chicago Bears, ESPN reporter came through and they asked me about it. So I try to be as well-rounded as I can. And I definitely try to keep my pulse on what's going on in the NFL. And that's also why, the shows for the State of the Saints are also on the State of the Game podcast that's available on YouTube as well. So, somebody asked me the other day about Jadeveon Clowney, and I talked about that. I talked about Jadeveon Clowney and, and I feel like this guy just smoking mirrors. And I said this morning because he was the topic of conversation on Undisputed with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. And I feel like this guy's the Lex Luger of the National Football League. And for some of my wrestling fans out there that's also Saints fans, you understand what I'm saying. Lex Luger, for those that don't know, was he was a wrestler. He was a guy that he was chiseled out of granite. He was about 6'4", about 270 pounds. Jack, swole, cock, diesel. But couldn't wrestle a mat question. He was horrible, and it was like, one of those cases where he looked the part, but he just wasn't it. And I feel like it's the same way with Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney looks the part, like he looks like he's a beast, but I never seen somebody get the benefit of the doubt so much. Like he never really lived up to expectations. First off, if anytime you're a first pick overall, if you don't come into the league over the next couple years, and you're not above average, it's a failure. Like, as much as I like Jameis Winston, as of right now, the Jameis Winston campaign has been a failure. If you're the first pick overall, there are certain expectations that that people expect of you. You don't supposed to be just part of the group. You're not supposed to be that. You're supposed to be above everybody else. You're supposed to be head and shoulders above everybody else. So when you look at people like Jadeveon, when you look at people like James, those guys have not lived up to expectations so far. So, even with Jameis threw 5,000 yards. What did Jadeveon Clowney did? The one statistic that people actually care about, people at his position doing, he has lacked, right? You're supposed to sack the quarterback. Oh, yeah, great tackles for loss. No, tackles for loss are for the Marcus Davenports of the world. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. The Tano Passignos, those type of guys. When you're the first pick overall, you're supposed to be leading the league in sacks at least once, twice, maybe even 3 times. Anything else is a failure. So the guy to me is smoking mirrors. The guy to me, been finessing the game since 2014. Dude been living off one play, a big hit on Denard Robinson from Michigan. and he has finessed his way to another big contract. I would say this, the Cleveland Browns, but I'm starting to, change the way I think about the Cleveland Browns, but I just don't understand what people see in this guy. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I really don't understand it for the life of me. I really don't understand. I really don't. Every time this dude, you pay this dude, you give him a big contract, you think that he's going to do something, you get the hype train behind him, and the next thing you know, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Beacon says a lot of rainstorms lately. Yeah, y'all be careful out there. Y'all be careful. Y'all be careful. But go ahead and wrap it up. I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. For all my people that came in a tad bit late, I encourage you to go ahead and be kind and rewind. Check out the State of the Saints podcast from the beginning. Thought it was pretty solid. We talked about draft picks 4 through 7 for the New Orleans Saints. Also, once again, to all the supporters of the State of the Saints podcast, I encourage you to inbox me a player that you want me to talk about, want me to address. Also, man, to all the supporters out there, I know I do a lot of interviews here on the State of the Saints podcast, so I want to do something special for the supporters. I want the supporters, if you have a question that you want me to ask a guest, right? Let's just say, for example, JD, John DeShazer, who's a familiar here on the State of the Saints podcast, comes on the show. You might be in the chat, want me to ask them a question. To the supporters out there, if you have a question that you would like for me to ask JD, or something like that, a good question, so I will select a question from a supporter to ask JD. All right. And also, like I said, if you have a NFL prospect that we didn't cover here on the State of the Saints podcast, feel free to inbox me. Let me know who it is. Thank you all so much. Thank you to all those people that have purchased Manscaped items, helping the State of the Saints podcast, continue their partnership with manscaped.com. If you have not, go to manscaped.com, use the promo code State of Saints. Also, once again, thank you to Cash App for working with me for the month of April. You can use this Cash App profile name here, State of Saints, if you want to donate to the State of the Saints podcast. Also, previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Go to facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, follow the page, find out how you can become a supporter, and also subscribe to the channel. Okay. We have a good percentage of individuals that watch the show that have subscribed to the channel, but we still have about 36% of the individuals that just watch the shows, but they have not hit the subscription button, which I don't understand. If you enjoy the content, you enjoy what we're doing here, you enjoy the commentary, you enjoy, seeing your comments, going at it with the chat, go ahead and hit the subscription button. Let's go ahead and let's break through new grounds. Let's try to hit that magical goal of 10,000 subscribers. Okay. Help your boy get to number 10,000. Okay. So they can hear you loud and proud. And I would really appreciate that. All right. So thank y'all so much for your time. Have a good and productive day. For all those people that's dealing with inclement weather, y'all be careful out there. If you're riding on the roads and you're listening to the State of the Saints podcast, focus on that road. Do not text and drive. Want everybody to make it to their destination safely. Much love to each and every one of you. Whether you're watching this in the morning, the noon, or the night, I really do appreciate it. And until next time, all I got to say is,